All right, hey everybody. So today we're going to be working using the average speed formula. We talked about it the other day in class, but this is just a reminder. The average speed formula is V equals X divided by T. The V stands for average speed. The reason why it's a V is because of the word velocity, which we use kind of interchangeably frequently with the word speed. Now, when we're learning about this formula, I like to break it down into this brace map. Okay, that shows what each part of the formula represents. The V, again, standing for velocity. The units for velocity are meters per second. The X stands for distance, which units are meters. And the T stands for time. Units for time are always going to be seconds. If you get units of time in minutes or hours, um, then you have to change those in seconds. Also, one thing that I wanted to point out that's on this PDF is that we have something that some students have found useful. We'll call it the average speed triangle. And it's arranged like this with the X on top and the V and T across the bottom. You may have seen something similar to this when you were in um, junior high with F equals MA. What this does is it shows kind of how the variables become rearranged when you're trying to solve for the different variables. So if you're trying to solve for V, it's X divided by T. If you're trying to solve for X, it's V times T, because as you can see, those are showing up across the bottom. If you're trying to solve for T, for time, then that's distance divided by the speed, or distance divided by the velocity. Okay, so some students have found that useful when rearranging the formula and solving for the different variables. But if you don't find that useful, then you can just feel free to skip that part. Now, this is the assignment that we're going to begin working on. It's using average speed formula, okay, which is, again, V equals X divided by T. Now, on this assignment, each of the rows, you're going to be solving for a different variable in the formula. So in the first row up here, you're going to be solving for average speed on all of these, 1, 2, and 3. They're all going to be solving for what is the average speed. On 4, 5, and 6, you got to be careful though, because you're going to be solving for something different. In that case, it's going to be distance. How far does it go? Okay. Question number 6 is a little bit different because you'll have two things that are moving, and it'll be wondering how far ahead one is from the other. 7, 8, and 9. It's going to. It says how long will it take, which means we're looking for time in those ones. The way that I want you guys to set up all of your questions, though, let's get a different color, is to always write down V equals X equals T equals every single time for every single problem. Okay. Then we'll read the problem and fill in the information that we know. So in question number 1, it says a cheetah can run 400 meters in 12 seconds. What is the cheetah's average speed? So we're trying to find average speed. That means V is unknown. So I always put a question mark next to that one. Now, we need to find the values for X and for T. And we're going to write all these things down so that we don't make any simple mistakes. It says that the cheetah can run 400 meters. That's a distance. So we'll put that down next to X. And it does it in 12 seconds. Put that down next to T. Now in this case, I include the units next to the numbers just to kind of reassure myself that I'm doing it right. Okay, the next step is always, always, always write down the formula. V equals X divided by T. Now, for this assignment, we're always going to be using that formula. but there are other formulas that we will be using or learning, and we'll be using those in different situations. Um, the next step after this is we need to make our substitutions. So the way that I do this is if I have an unknown, like v is our unknown, I just write down using that letter, v. That is equal to x. The value for x is 400. So write that down, 400. And we divide that by t. The value for t is 12. Okay. Now we're going to punch that into our calculator. Okay. Um, whenever we're doing any of these math problems, you can always use a calculator. Always on the test, always on your homework. Please take advantage of that, and it'll kind of help you avoid making simple mistakes. Now, in this case, 400 divided by 12 is equal to 33.333333333 forever. So what I'm going to put is a little line over that 3 in the decimals place and include my unit, meters per second. Okay, the little bar over that 3 just is representing that it's a repeating digit and it's going on for, basically forever. Okay, now all of the questions on the first row are going to be done in a similar way. For each question, I want you to write down v equals x equals t equals. I also want you to write down the formula, make your substitutions, solve for the unknown, put the unit, and put a box around it. Now again, I was telling you guys that each row you're going to be solving for a different variable. So let's take a look at how that looks in the quick case of question number 4. Let's pick a different color. How about orange? It says an orange rolls at a constant speed of 1 meter per second for 10 seconds. How far does it roll? Now, many people can do this question in their head, but this is just a practice problem, and so we're going to go through all of the steps. We always write down v equals x equals t equals. Okay, we read the question. An orange rolls at a constant speed of 1 meter per second. Is that v, x, or t? Okay, and if you're not sure, we can look back over here at our brace map, okay, and look at the units for each of those values and find the matching one. It said 1 meter per second. Velocity's units are meters per second, so that must be v. 1 meter per second. That means every second they go 1 meter. They do this for 10 seconds. 10 is time, or 10 seconds is time. So I'm going to put that down there next to t, 10 seconds. So now we know the question is how far does it roll? Put a question mark next to that so we know which one we're looking for. Next step, always, always, always write down the formula. V equals x over t. Then we make our substitution. V is 1 meter per second, so we'll write that down, 1. That equals x divided by t for 10 for time. Okay. Now, the next step here, depending on how you've been taught, some people like to multiply both sides times 10 times 10. So that cancels. And we end up with x equals 10 times 1 is 10 meters. Put a box around it. Okay, and make sure that you put those units, 10 meters. Now, the other option that we could have had if we weren't comfortable with doing the cross multiplication is we can take a look at our average speed triangle, okay? And we see that we're trying to solve for distance. So in this case, in all average speed questions, when we're solving for distance, that means we take the velocity and multiply it times the time, v times t. So we're looking at that blue part right there. So if we were to try this using that procedure, we would have x equals v times t. X is our unknown. V is 1 meter per second. And we do that for 10 seconds. We get x equals 10 meters again. Okay, so if you're comfortable with the algebra and the cross multiplying, by all means do it that way. If you're not comfortable with that and want to have the formula rearranged for you already, then use the average speed triangle method. That's fine too. And but write down the formula and the structure that you know it should be according to that triangle. Okay, and then just continue on. Let's see here. Again, all of the questions in that row, 4, 5, and 6, you're going to be using the formula the same way, solving for distance. Okay. In question number 7, it's a little bit different. It's going to say how long would it take. Whenever it says how long would it take, 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 how long would it take means how much time would it take. Okay, so in that case, we're always looking for t. Okay, but don't forget when you're doing this, always write down v equals x equals t equals. Okay, so we'll do number 7 together, and then we'll leave it there. How long would it take the zombie walking 1.5 meters per second to walk 8 meters from the classroom door to your desk? Oh no. So velocity is 1.5 meters per second. Okay, how far is the zombie going to walk? They're going to walk 8 meters. So we'll put that down there. 8 and from the classroom door to your desk. Now, the time, again, is unknown because it says, how long would it take? And that means time is unknown. Okay, always write down the formula, v equals x divided by t. Okay, if you're not comfortable with doing it that way, then you could write it down in the alternate form, which, if we're looking for time, is x divided by v. X divided by v. So let's use the purple just like that. T equals x divided by v. Anyways, make your substitutions. V is 1.5, x is 8, and time is unknown, so that's t. I'm going to, let's see here. Another way, instead of multiplying both sides times t, another way that I like to do it is cross multiply. I made up my own symbol for cross multiply. At least I think I did. It looks like that, right? It looks like you're multiplying across, I think. 1.5t equals 8. Then our next step is divide both sides by 1.5, right? And use our calculator just to make sure we don't make any silly mistakes. 8 divided by 1.5 is 5.333. Glad I used my calculator. I would have never gotten that. Okay, put my bar over the 3 to show that it's a repeating digit. Okay, and that's seconds. So leave it like that. Put a bar box around it, and we'll be all done. Okay, now you can do the same, or you can make the substitutions into the rearranged formula, the purple one. This way, t equals x is 8, v is 1.5, and then punch it into your calculator. Bet you get the same answer. T equals 5.33 seconds. Put a box around it. Don't forget your unit, don't forget your box, and don't take shortcuts. Shortcuts are what's going to mess you up, and we don't want to make any simple mistakes. Okay, now we'll talk about 10 through 12 and 13, 14, and 15 together Again, next time in class. Okay. So what I want you guys to work on right now is just questions 1 through 9. Okay. Do those as best you can. If you make mistakes, it's okay. It's all part of the learning process. Okay. If you guys have any questions, you can always email me, or you can ask the folks at the tutors at Paper. Remember, you have access to all of those online tutors. Just ask them a physics question, and they'll find a physics tutor for you. Okay. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.